Welcome to it. I'm Kennedy. Well, hey there, the NSA is spying on us, the DEA is spying on us, and they've enlisted local and federal agencies to help out. Is it at all surprising they considered monitoring who goes to gun shows? Joanna Zaczynski joins us. She's from Red Eye. She's a co-host, and she is fantastic.
I am.
And also one of our very favorites, Michael Malice, author of Dear Reader. He's a North Korean pop culture expert who also happens to be a limited government immigrant. And I want to see his papers right now.
Got it right here.
Yeah, very good. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show on Premiere Week. Let's talk about the DEA. How is the Drug Enforcement Administration keeping us safe by collecting license plates? I don't quite understand that.
Oh, there's nothing to understand. It's really amazing that when these data came out, that the DEA is just sitting around thinking, how can we circumvent constitutional limits to privacy? How can we get around these laws that are in place to keep people secure from the government? And they don't care. They just want to get as much information as possible and use it for their nefarious reasons. And I think it's kind of outrageous that this is basically their approach instead of thinking, what can we do to get people not to hate us? And they don't care.
No, they don't care. In fact, they're in bed with the CIA and the NSA and other law enforcement agencies. They've been collecting all sorts of data for a long time, which is really freaky because American voters are sending a very different message about drugs, particularly about marijuana right now, and it's more of a live and let live time. Yet, you know, if for some reason they don't allow the DEA to do this, the agency will have to shrink and they'll have to give up their budgets, and then there's going to be a big fat fight. What do you think?
Well, yeah, you know, I think a lot of people are changing their mind about drugs and the way we view them, wanting them to become legal and helping how they can help us and our economy and everything like that. But unfortunately, there are some people who just take a little too far. There are people who do very bad things. And so sometimes we also need to do a little trickery in order to get these tricky people. So I am all for it.
Really? So you don't mind the DEA collecting information on everyone to any means necessary?
You know what?
Why is that?
I understand that the American people want transparency, but sometimes I don't think it's as beneficial because right now we're all just paranoid. And I mean, the drugs already make us paranoid. So let's, you know, leave it be.
Well, it's kind of justified paranoia, isn't it? Because the things that we had worried about that Edward Snowden revealed, they've really come to fruition.
What I'm paranoid is about a bunch of SWAT team members knocking down my door without a warrant because they have the wrong address and having a machine gun put to my head, wrecking all my stuff and being like, oops, you know, we did it again with no repercussions whatsoever. So these laws are in place, the Constitution is in place to make sure that never happens. But when it comes to the DEA and agents like that, you know, this was Nixon's plan to shred the Constitution and basically have this kind of police state enforcing people. And I'm not a drug user, but I do want to feel secure in my home.
All right, so Nixon's not running for president. Marco Rubio looks like he's going to. And, you know, he's really popular with Republicans on a lot of issues. On Cuba, he wants to make sure that the oppressive regime there doesn't continue, but he doesn't mind the oppressive NSA continuing. Do you think that's going to be a problem for him? And do you think that could be an issue in 2016?
There's so many issues. I mean, I didn't feel oppressed until Edward Snowden, all of your hero, was leaking all this information about the NSA. I loved my ignorance. I really did. And I think he's a very selfish man for bringing all of that out. It is an issue to some people, but I don't think it's as big of an issue to the majority. And I don't know that that will hurt him in the future.
So you blindly trust your government? If the government is overstepping the bounds of the Constitution, you really don't have a problem with that?
I don't at this point. If it were to affect me more personally in the future, I'm sure I might. But right now, I say with blind conviction that I'm okay with it.
I admire your conviction. I disagree with it, though.
I'm all for selfishness, but this idea, if it doesn't hurt me personally, what's the problem? It's really kind of insane.
That is very let them eat cake.
And it's right.
I love cake. I'll take seconds.
I'm for cake as well over pie. But, you know, working with North Korea and seeing what it's like when you have a government which has infiltrated every aspect of society.
Yes, but wouldn't you say we're more vulnerable now because of all this information that has been leaked?
No, we're vulnerable because the people who are reading our mail isn't the drug user. It isn't your obnoxious next door neighbor. It's the government. They're doing it explicitly and openly, and they're going to use these things for bad purposes. Yeah. And the idea, you know, the Republican Party wants red meat. They're sick of Obama, and the idea that like a milquetoast like Rubio is going to get traction, I think is very difficult to sell.
All right, but I guess the problem with it is they're not necessarily necessarily keeping us safe from the bad guys. That's impossible mathematically when you're spying on everyone.
They are the bad guys.
You can't, but you can't single out bad people who want to kill a lot of Americans when what you're doing is spying on 300 million people at a time. There's no way to sift through it all. You guys, thank you very much. We're going to see you a little later in the show.
Thanks, Kennedy.
Very good. Hello, you. Last year, the Obama administration issued an executive order giving de facto amnesty to about 5 million illegal immigrants. The administration has now further directed border agents to aid those immigrants in deterring them or determining whether or not they are eligible to remain in the country, and has distributed training materials to various agencies with questions designed to assist people who have crossed the border. Now, I am very pro-immigration, but if you want to live in America, can't you at least do your own paperwork? Good Lord. Joanne Nozichinsky, she's back, the Red Eye co-host and siren of Stage and Scream. And her co-siren, Michael Malice, is also here, author of Dear Reader. You must get his book immediately. So, Malice, I ask you this. Do Customs and Border Patrol agents really have to be the ones to go on a fishing expedition to find out if people fit the new executive order criteria?
Well, I think it's wonderful. They're actually informing immigrants of their rights. So something that Republicans don't understand, and which I despise them for, is the idea that if someone does something wrong, they still do have rights, even if they're not a citizen or if they just happen to be an illegal alien. I mean, that's why you have the Miranda rights. When the cops arrest you, they tell you these are what your rights are. So these are telling, these aliens who might not even speak English, but at least you have certain rights protected under the Obama administration. I think it's wonderful. And I think it's outrageous the government's going to interfere with the free market and labor. If I come here and I want to work for you and you want to pay me, there's nothing the government has to say about that.
I don't have a problem with you coming here and working and me paying you. My problem is if I go to any other country, I have to have documentation. If you want to be here, if you want to work, I'm fine, fantastic, but bring the stuff you need.
They did bring the stuff they need, their knowledge and their hands and, the sweat off their back.
Well, go ahead and prove where you're from and that you're able to be here.
You sound like the NSA.
I don't sound like the NSA. No, it's your responsibility. If you go to another country, it's your responsibility to have your stuff in order whenever you visit. I can't just waltz into New Zealand and be like, I'm here.
It's not their interaction with their government. It's the interaction with whoever's hiring them. It doesn't matter what the government has to say. As long as two people want to exchange, wages in terms for work, that's a great, great thing. And that's how peace spreads throughout the world.
Yeah, well, peace also spreads throughout the world.
And prostitution, I think.
I'm for that.
Two people. Yeah.
Well,
why not? What's wrong with that?
All right,
Jesus
so
liked it.
do you think that CBP should be asking people that, we're asking them to spot terrorists.
Yes.
We're asking them to enforce laws.
Yes.
We're asking them to figure out who needs to be deported. Should they be asking people also?
And then we're holding everyone's hands as we escort them in, as soon as we're helping them figure out their paperwork, who doesn't need to be deported right away. We're giving checklists as well. And the thing about checklists is you always just want to cross everything off. You just want to get it done. And these agents have so much work to do already. We're asking them to do even more. Yes, we are. They are worked to the bone. And really, to add this other thing, it's just, it doesn't make sense to me, and it's not going to be beneficial to the end goal.
Here's why I agree with her, because we ask a lot of law enforcement. We really do, and then we blame them when stuff goes wrong.
Yeah, well,
and it's like you have to, but yeah, well, no, you also have to figure out the scope of what you need from people. But in the end, Hillary Clinton might save the day, or she might delay. She has had nothing to say on immigration yet because no one's seen her. The launch of her campaign might be put off by 3 months because she can, with no other comparable political juggernauts poised to take the Democratic ticket, she can take the nomination. And political reports that Hillary is making just a leisurely stroll to the presidential nomination. Okay, come on, Democrats. Surely one of you has the ego to jump in and contest Hillary. And we can only hope Joe Biden finishes his ship in a bottle project soon enough so he can sally forth and jump into the race. I know that you love the idea of a Hillary candidacy. And we haven't seen her very much lately, which makes me think that Hillary is getting some really good Brazilian plastic surgery right now.
Yes.
And she's going to emerge in a couple months looking like Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, yeah, but at the same time, all the plastic surgery is not going to fix her mouth and her mind. Hillary Clinton trying to navigate the press, I call her America's mother-in-law because she's such a scold, is kind of like Mr. Magoo trying to navigate a minefield while drunk and having an attack on Parkinson's. She's a walking calamity. Yeah, she's a walking calamity. Every time she talks to the press, it's another, thing she has to walk back. And I don't just mean dead broke. I mean claiming that when you're first lady, there was sniper fire, so therefore you duck down because bullets can only go at head level. I mean, she's out of her mind. So they really need to keep her under wraps lest she say some things that she can't take back, a year and a half before the election.
So you think it's a smart move? You say stay out of the limelight.
What's the downside?
And then you can't say anything dumb.
Yeah.
Okay, so Joanne, it does look pretty cocky.
Yeah.
You're like, and no one's gonna row.
Well, first, I'm excited for February 2nd, where she comes out of hiding to see if she can see her shadow, and then she'll go back in. I just really politics. It's a lot like pageantry, actually. She's a contestant. She's competed for her state crown before. She wants to compete again, but I want that new pageant girl, the novice, to come in and to really give her a run for her money and take that crown away from her. Because there's nothing I enjoy more than seeing someone cry when they don't get the crown.
So basically what you're saying, Joanne, is you want to see Elizabeth Warren in a bikini.
Oh. You know what? Again, the imagery. I am saying that. I am.
Good. You guys, thank you so much for being here. It was great having you both for 2 segments. And they're gonna get married in Vegas next week. It's gonna be a very special episode of Kennedy.